Good morning to you. Daybreak here at iFiber One. It's 8:42. Morning, Vicki.
Good morning.
Well, time for us to get some riveting radio real estate from Don Pannell. Morning, Don.
Good morning, Jeff.
How are
Morning,
you?
Vicki.
Good morning.
I'm great.
Good to see you. Have a good Fourth.
I did.
Yeah. We're talking about a new home, and you'll be able to see the pictures on this one as we talk about this listing. As you check out the video when we post it online. What's going on there with this new place, Vicki? Or not Vicki, Don, where are we at and what are we looking at?
We are in Union at 40 East Tower Lane, which is a little street that goes off of the McCreevy Road as you're headed out towards Union before you get to Alderbrook in that area. So, but it's a cute little place, and it's a classic example of the worst house in the best neighborhood that we talked about a little bit last time. This one is, I mean, it's an older house. It was built, I believe, in the 70s. I can't see that right off the top of my head, but it needs some work. It needs some little TLC. It's kind of a basic one-level floor plan, 3 bedrooms, 1 3/4 bath, 1,700 square feet. It's got a 2-car garage, got a nice little deck area on the back. It's just about 2 acres of property, but it backs up onto a green belt.
It's very cute. I'm looking at it right now. Very cute.
Yeah, we were out there visiting, and there were little bunnies in the backyard even, so that was kind of cool. So it's out in the country, but
it was built in 2000.
2000. There we go. Yeah, it's something. Oh, okay. So it is newer than I had thought, but it does need some work. I mean, it needs some paint, it needs some flooring, that kind of thing. But the neighborhood has $400,000 and $500,000 homes.
Wow.
So that are brand new. So you could put however much money you wanted to into this into this property and not run the risk of over improving for the neighborhood because the neighbors are gorgeous. So that's kind of a neat thing for anybody who wants to kind of get in on the ground level in a great neighborhood and put a little sweat equity, a little money into this. I mean, you could easily put $50,000 into this and still not be over what you could for resale. So we've got it listed at $275, basically because of the location and the amount of property. So and that's not always the case. We talked about this a little bit last time, that you can find yourself in a situation where you have put too much money into improvements and you're not going to get it back. This is just the opposite. You could put basically as much as you wanted to into this and make it a show place and still not have over improved it. It's got a fenced area in the back and then a little storage shed for lawn stuff, and then it's got a place where you can park RVs, that kind of thing. And it's kind of back off the road, so it's got a little bit of a longer driveway. So it feels pretty secluded. Yeah. And I just thought it was a charming little place, and it seems real quiet and peaceful back there.
Good size kitchen.
Good size kitchen. Yeah, nice. Washer dryer comes with it.
Over an acre.
Yeah, almost 2 acres.
I like the hardwood flooring too.
Yeah, and again, there are places that probably need to be replaced on that. But again, you could do that. You could put all brand new floors in there and still be okay as far as over improving. So
huge backyard too.
Yes, and very private and quiet and level and. It's nice. It's a great little spot. So
let me ask you this question here. The list price is $275, and you're talking about putting some work into it but not without worrying about going over improving the neighborhood. So and you may not be able to answer this, and that's fine if you aren't. But how do you then, with the thought that you're going to upgrade this place, how do you go into and talk to your lender about getting more than the list price to get these available upgrades? Sometimes you can do that, sometimes you can't. Okay.
So it just depends on who your lender is and what kind of loan you're getting. So that's a lender question. Okay. And sometimes you can do that. But what I always recommend, unless you're buying it as a spec home that you're going to flip and then turn right around and sell, the best scenario is that you buy it to live in for a while and then kind of do the improvements over time as you save up for them. Okay. So you get a chance to enjoy the property and still do the improvements, and then with the eye that 4 or 5 years down the road you're going to put it back on the market and resell it. So
Oh, okay. 'Cause
Yeah.
flippers may have this in cash.
typically they do. Yeah, that's kind of the scenario a lot of times, is that they have the cash that they put in, that they buy the properties, and they do the improvements, and they turn right around and sell them with never any intention of living in them.
Right.
Which is fine if that's your business model, but you have to have the cash available to do those improvements so that you can turn around and sell it.
If you do upgrades and the upgrades then make you from the lowest house in the neighborhood to well above the highest house in the neighborhood, is there anything, do you just have to wait for the other houses to kind of appreciate to get to your level, or?
That's one way to do it, sure. Or sometimes what happens is that as you improve your house, then the neighbors see what's happening, and they start improving theirs, and it's
Nudge them along a little bit.
which is
Right.
actually kind of a neat thing. I mean, I always love
it
to
is.
see that, especially
Little
some of
lawn guilt.
yeah, right. Some of the older neighborhoods, I've seen that happen. Somebody comes in and buys a place and turns it into a show place, and then the neighbors gradually start, and then after a while, what was once a sort of a middle of the road neighborhood is now a very desirable neighborhood.
Sure.
So I love it when I see that happening. I mean, that helps everybody.
Oh, yes.
So even if everybody's planning to stay where they are, you still have the knowledge of knowing that you have really kind of bumped up the value for everybody
Right.
in the neighborhood. So yeah.
Well, we're in the middle of summer, and are the trends still looking like the housing market's going to be hot through the rest of the summer, and as the fall and winter hits, and traditionally kind of a slower time of the year? Or what are you hearing these
It
days?
kind of looks that way again in Shelton in specific price ranges. I mean, when you get up above the 300,000 range, sometimes things tend to sit for a while. Under 200, they go quick.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what you're looking for, and what your budget is, and what your requirements are. So, yeah, it's the main thing that we were talking about is that as far as over improving, when you go into a place, and I always try to encourage buyers with this, is that you have to be able to look beyond what's in the house at the time. As far as finishes, I mean, paint and flooring and those kinds of things are easy to replace
Right.
and easy to update without too much money. And you have to remember too that trends change.
Sure.
5 years ago, everybody wanted dark cherry cabinets.
Right.
Now they want white.
Really?
Yeah. So instead of looking at those things, look at the quality of the cabinets. Are they solid wood? Are they nice layout? Are they those kinds of things? I mean, if they're solid wood, doesn't really matter what color they are. They can be finished and refinished and finished again, and painted as many times as you want. So look at those things rather than are they the most trendy color
Right.
at the moment. Countertops the same way. Take a look at other houses in the neighborhood. If everybody else in the neighborhood has Formica and you want granite, you're not going to get the return on the cost of the granite. Conversely, if everybody else has granite and you have Formica, you're probably going to want to put in granite. But then granite is a funny thing too. It used to be that's what everybody wanted. Now they're going to quartz, or they're going to other things. I mean, everything is cyclical, so you have to keep that in mind.
That's so funny.
Where do
Yeah.
these trends come from?
I know. I was thinking.
HGTV probably.
Is what it is?
Oh, yes.
I don't know if I can say that, but yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
How funny.
And even I was talking with somebody the other day. Everybody looks at wallpaper as that's just
Yeah. Oh
that's
my
just so
gosh.
dated. Well, in Seattle, everybody wants wallpaper now.
Really?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love wallpaper.
yeah.
It's
So
just kind of the thing too, where you see in like fancy high-end cars, Audis, BMWs. They first came out with the rear camera.
right,
Yes.
Now, all
Now
cars
everybody.
has a
Everyone
rear
has
camera.
it,
Is
yeah.
that the other one too? These super gazillion-dollar homes, and then eventually the price points come down
Yeah.
enough, and it can fit into the regular homes.
A lot of times. But again, you have to really be careful that you don't put those glitzy things in there in a home that you're just not going to be able to get
Right.
the value back out. I mean, you can spend a lot of money and still not be able to get that return.
And you may be on the forefront of a trend on Madison Avenue or on the Street of Dreams in Seattle.
Right.
But those high-end trends may not have gotten down to our neck of the woods
Exactly,
yet. People
exactly.
come and they look at this, they go, what is
Yeah,
that?
what is that?
Yeah.
We're
Right.
2 years
Yeah.
down the road,
Yeah.
then everybody wants it,
Right,
but you're
right.
kind of waiting around for everybody to catch on that.
Which again is why I always encourage people to take a look at the bones of a place. I mean, if you've got a good layout, if you've got the number of bedrooms, the number of bathrooms, the
Sure.
size of the rooms.
Do you
that
find people follow the trends more than like making up their own? Like, I would pick what I wanted.
Yeah.
I don't care what the neighbor had.
Yeah, it depends. It depends.
Yeah.
It depends on the buyer. And again, as a seller, if you're looking at what you want to do to get your house ready to sell,
You go for the trends.
Not necessarily. No.
Oh, good.
I don't advise them to do that
Oh,
because,
good.
because again, the trends change. So, if you have carpeting and flooring that's serviceable, there's not much point in ripping it all out and spending the money to replace it because the person who buys it may want something totally different.
Oh,
So
yeah.
give them that opportunity to say, "Hey, I'm going to rip this out anyway,"
Right.
and but paint the same way. I mean, do you repaint the whole inside of your house? Well, not necessarily. I mean, it depends on
Right.
if it's presentable and okay. If you have a big mural on the wall or something like that, you might want to consider painting it over
Right.
because that's pretty specific.
Yes.
But other than that, give people the opportunity, if they can, to look beyond what's there
Sure.
and think about how they're going to put their own stamp on it.
Right.
And again, look at the quality of what's
What- yeah,
underneath
yeah.
the finishes because the
Exactly.
finishes can change.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
and
great.
things like new roofs, you always get your return on those investments. If you're noticing your roof start to buckle or things like that, it might and it's 15 years old or something like that. It might be worth your money. You'll probably get the amount that you put into it
Oh, yeah.
back out on the sale if you can say you
okay.
have a brand new roof.
Brand new roof.
So and then upgrades to kitchens and bathrooms are always you pretty much always get your return back
Right.
there. But again, don't go crazy. I mean,
Right.
don't put super high end finishes in because somebody this
may hate it.
$500 that you spend on a trendy vessel sink, somebody
Right.
might hate vessel sinks,
Right.
Sure.
and want just regular plain old ones again,
Yeah.
So you have to be a little cautious. So I always encourage
That
people
makes
to
sense.
err on the side of caution
Right.
when they're thinking about those things. Other than things that affect the health and the safety of the house. So
Good advice.
Don, how can folks get in touch with you?
they can call me at 360-490-4493 or come and see me on the corner of 3rd and Railroad. And if I'm not there, they'll know where I am.
There you go. Right down the street.
Right down the street.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Your new front looks great.
Doesn't that look
Holy
nice?
moly.
Doesn't that look nice?
Ryan
Yeah.
and Jamie did a wonderful job.
Yes,
all the workers. I don't know
yes.
how much they put into it. I will sweat
Well,
labor there on that
They
one. but
put a
everybody
lot.
else did.
Yeah. I think Ryan's wife is doing most of the painting.
It
so
looks
she's-
really great.
Yeah.
It looks really great.
It really looks nice. Yeah.